Welcome to NarrativeNook Audiotales, where enchanted stories come to life. If you enjoy our stories, please subscribe, like and share to support our channel. Enjoy listening. The Murphy family. Yolanda had locked herself in her room, refusing to respond no matter how much they called for her. "Yoli, weren't you supposed to be at the award ceremony? What happened? We made a cake for you and planned to celebrate with you when you came back. Could you please open the door and see the cake? It says, 'Congrats Yoli for coming second.'" A shattering sound came from the room, as if telling them to stop talking. The maids were startled and saw Atlee and Olga coming back, so they hurriedly ran downstairs, "Mr. and Mrs. Murphy Yoli." Before they could finish their sentence, they saw Atlee and Olga looking downcast. Their clothes disheveled, their expressions as if they were about to go bankrupt. "Mr. and Mrs. Murphy, what happened?" Yoli locked herself in her room. "Why are you two looking like this? Wasn't Yoli supposed to be receiving an award? I didn't see any trophy. Mrs. Murphy, are you okay?" Seeing Olga almost collapsing, the maids hurriedly rushed to support her. Olga felt weak and had a headache so intense she could barely stand. "Stop mentioning the award." "Yes, it's my fault, Mrs. Murphy. Let me help you to the couch to sit for a while." The maid quickly helped Olga to the couch and poured 2 glasses of water. "Mr. Murphy, have a sip too." Atlee had never been so embarrassed before. He didn't understand why Yoli had to plagiarize someone else's work, and that person happened to be Arabella. Now they had become the laughingstock of everyone. Arabella, that Olga couldn't even curse anymore. The maids thought they had another conflict with Arabella, so they started blaming her. "So, it was that darn girl who upset Mr. and Mrs. Murphy again? I knew something was up when Yoli came back crying. It turns out it was all that girl's fault. She should think if it wasn't for Mr. and Mrs. Murphy, would she even be alive today? She is so ungrateful. Even crows feed their parents. She is worse than a crow. Enough." Atlee was frustrated. If Yoli hadn't stolen someone else's work in the first place, would she have made her embarrassed on stage? The problem is that Yoli didn't tell us beforehand. If she had, they would not have appeared at the award ceremony today, and they certainly would not have been such a big joke. The maids were stunned. Yoli stole Arabella's work and got caught, which was very embarrassing. This was awkward. No wonder they came back looking like that. Olga's phone rang at this time. Seeing that the caller ID was Fiona, she became nervous, but still forced a smile. "Hello Fiona. Mrs. Murphy, the award ceremony ended at 11 this morning, and at 11:01, we announced on our official Twitter that Yolanda was our spokesperson. But not long after, someone told me that Yolanda's entry plagiarized Maestro Melody's work, and she was even exposed on the spot," Fiona said. Olga knew she had called about this issue, and hurriedly replied, "Fiona, please let me explain." Fiona cut her off. "Because the news was blocked, I had to wait half an hour to hear about it from someone who knew. Now many people are boycotting my piano brand. Out of desperation, we had to delete the tweet. Things have come to this point, but you guys haven't said a word, not even an explanation." Olga felt as if she had been slapped in the face. "Fiona, please let me speak." "Mrs. Murphy." Fiona Bishop had had enough. "We clearly signed a contract stating that there can't be any bad press during the contract period, or else you'll need to cough up 10 times the penalty. According to the contract, you have to pay $5 million within 10 days, or we'll have to settle this in court." "Fiona." Olga tried to say something more, but the other party had already hung up. When she tried to call back, the call was blocked. Olga was in despair. $5 million, where on earth was she going to get $5 million? Although Atlee was the richest man in Tranquil City, with personal assets exceeding $100 million, most of it was tied up in fixed assets like houses, shops, stocks, cars, etc. Before, due to big companies like Albara Investment suddenly halting their cooperation, their cash flow was in a tight spot. Coupled with business losses, they had already sold quite a number of shops and houses. Now they had to compensate $5 million. They probably had to sell off shares. But once the shares were sold, they would become minority shareholders, and the decision-making power would fall into the hands of Grace and other shareholders. No, that was absolutely unacceptable. They couldn't sell the shares. "You guys can leave." Olga dismissed the maid, then asked Atlee in a low and desperate voice, "What should we do?" Yoli breached the contract. "We have to compensate 5 million, and we only have 10 days. Just as Atlee was about to say something, his phone started to vibrate, an incoming call from an unknown number. "Hello," Atlee said. "Is this Atlee? I'm Melody's lawyer." The caller said something, and Atlee seemed very shocked. "Compensate 6 million? Yes, Yolanda plagiarized Melody's work and participated in the competition without permission. It's a serious infringement and she must bear the legal consequences." The lawyer said, "According to the relevant laws, you must stop the infringement, mitigate its impact, make a public apology, and then compensate for Melody's losses. Considering Melody's reputation, 6 million in compensation is already very generous. If we don't receive the money within 3 days, we will sue Yolanda and make this public on our official account. Please don't do this." Atlee pleaded hastily, "We can talk it out. If the official account went public with this, then everyone would know about Yoli's plagiarism. It would seriously damage her reputation, as well as the Murphy family's." Seeing Atlee hang up the phone, Olga hurriedly asked, "What happened?" "Arabella wants us to pay 6 million. On what grounds?" "Because Yoli stole her song." Atlee was angry at the thought. "Can you stop targeting her? If it wasn't for your insistence on kicking her out of the Murphy family, how much benefit would her status as Maestro Melody bring us? How impressive are our 2 daughters? How much glory would she give us when she gets married? How many connections would she bring us?" Such short-sightedness. And regretting it now was too late. Who could have known that girl was Maestro Melody? She never mentioned it before. Olga was a bit angry. This just proves she's very scheming. Grace loves her the most, but she even hid it from Grace. Olga was certain that if Grace knew, she would definitely tell them. Atlee sat on the couch in despair. Now with the 5 million in penalty, and the 6 million in copyright infringement, adding up to over 10 million, he didn't have that much cash on hand. "Atlee, can we try to talk to that girl again? She's a kind-hearted girl," Olga said. Before Olga could finish, Atlee couldn't help but reproach, "You know she's kind-hearted? If you were a little more tolerant in the first place, even if we had to part ways, we could have done so peacefully. When we ran into each other outside, we could have greeted each other with a smile, instead of our relationship being so tense now." Ever since Arabella left the Murphy family, nothing had gone right for them. Yoli finally bagged second place, but before she could pop the champagne, the tables turned. Atlee was a cocktail of emotions: regret, heartache, anger, and frustration all in one. He thought of Albara investment and the penny dropped. "So, she's been dining with Dylan and his gang. No wonder Mario is treating her like a queen," Atlee said. It was probably because she was Maestro Melody, so she had got a bunch of big shots in her corner. Atlee was kicking himself. "We should have called Yoli in. All we can do now is apologize to her sincerely. Fingers crossed she'll forgive us." "Why?" Olga protested loudly. "Yoli already apologized on stage. Were they supposed to apologize in private too? Wasn't that just lowering themselves and letting Arabella walk all over them? If we could avoid a 6 million loss just by saying sorry, you'd be laughing your ass off." Atlee sensed that this was more than meets the eye. "What I'm worried about is, we've hurt that kid too many times. She might not let us off the hook so easily. She had already blocked their phone numbers. Didn't she used to fancy Yoli's necklace? We could give that to her," Olga said. Before Olga could finish, Atlee started laughing. "What are you laughing at?" Olga asked. "Do you think a piano maestro would be short of cash for a necklace?" Atlee asked. "Then why would she steal Yoli's necklace? And date a bunch of guys? Isn't it for the money?" Olga said. Atlee pondered and said, "What Yoli said might not be true. She's dating all these guys probably because she's a piano maestro and wants to connect with like-minded people. After all, these high-profile people loved to flock together." Olga listened to him, and it suddenly made sense. But how could Yoli possibly lie? Atlee must be overthinking. Just then, Atlee's phone rang again. It was Ben from the company. "Mr. Murphy, we're screwed. The Collins family has announced that they won't allow any company to collaborate with the Murphy family, and whoever dares to help us will be challenging them," Ben said. Now a few more companies have terminated their contracts with us. If this keeps up, our company is going bankrupt. Atlee was stunned and utterly confused. We haven't offended the Collins family. Did they mention why? No. Ben said. Then go find out. Atlee was running around like a headless chicken. There was no conflict with the Collins family at the awards ceremony today. They didn't even say hi. How could they have offended them? Don't worry, I'm on it, Ben said. After hanging up, Atlee had a sinking feeling that he was done for. He couldn't figure out why the Collins family would make such a statement. Was it because of Arabella? Did the Collins family have a soft spot for Maestro Melody, and decided to step in when they saw her being treated unfairly? If that was the case, they had just pissed off two big shots. Luxury villa by the lake. The moment Kenneth got home, he felt that the piano in the house didn't match his daughter's status. He immediately whipped out his phone. I want to order a diamond-encrusted piano for my daughter. Everything but the keys should be studded with diamonds, and the sound quality should be top-notch. It has to be delivered by tonight. The piano we have is too basic, not suitable for my daughter, Louisa said with a beaming smile. Go buy some top-quality meat and vegetables. Tonight, we're throwing a celebration for Arabella. Beside her, Edith asked respectfully and curiously, what are we celebrating? Madam, is there some good news? Bella is a world-renowned piano master. We, as parents, only found out about it today, Louisa said. Before Louisa could finish, the maids were both surprised and delighted. She is amazing. So young and already so talented. Did this mean her status in the piano world was even higher than Serena's? Serena's expression didn't seem so good. Arabella is really too modest. Louisa lovingly glanced at Arabella. Are you tired? Go upstairs and rest first. I'll call you when dinner is ready. Okay, Arabella said. After Arabella went upstairs, she received a call from Jack. Can you come to Villa Cascada? The A33 project failed again, Jack said. Villa Cascada was Arabella's luxurious villa on the top of the South Hill in the suburbs of Summerfield. It could be considered her main base, with a beautiful view and many large laboratories. The laboratories were equipped with the most advanced equipment and instruments from home and abroad. Many of Arabella's previous medical experiments were completed there. A33 was a shorthand for a research project on Alzheimer's disease. This disease was currently incurable and could only be temporarily alleviated by drugs. The difficulty of developing a drug that could completely cure Alzheimer's disease was imaginable. Boss, this project is too costly. Should we switch to another one? It's not a solution to keep pouring in money, Jack said. I'll come over in a bit, Arabella said calmly. That's great. Could you make some hearties and time-defying potion when you come? There are a lot of people on the black market willing to pay a high price for them, Jack said. Okay, Arabella said. After hanging up the phone, Arabella took the medicine that Kelly gave her. She told Louisa, and then left. Villa Cascada was situated in a dense forest, magnificent and sprawling. The security guards at the gate were excited and respectful when they saw Arabella. You're finally here. When Arabella entered the main hall, Jack was already waiting there. Long time no see, you're still as cool as ever. Arabella's aura was cold as ice, with a leader-like demeanor, and you've gotten bolder. Jack shrank his neck in fright. Not at all. When Arabella walked into Lab 1, a few PhDs and experts greeted her. She just nodded, changed into her lab coat, and strolled in with her long legs. What stage are we at with the project? We've been struggling to extract the jade leaf. One of the doctors sighed. There's something in it that boosts memory, but the extraction process is too delicate. If we're not careful, we could destroy the compound. We've been trying for over 2 weeks without success. Another chimed in. We've managed to extract other drugs, but they need to be synthesized together to maximally increase acetylcholine levels in the brain. But we can't seem to get the synthesis right. Arabella pulled up the most recent data of their failed attempts, pondered for a moment, and then said, let me give it a shot. The PhDs and experts gathered around her, watching as Arabella tried to extract the jade leaf after heating it. Soon, Arabella's phone started buzzing. She was busy and didn't have time to deal with the call, but the other party kept dialing. Finally, Arabella had to take off her gloves, step outside, and answer the strange number with a touch of annoyance. "Who is this?" "Bella, it's your dad. Please don't hang up. It's just going to take 2 minutes," Atlee said. Atlee quickly got to the point. "Yoli plagiarized your work. We've already given her a stern talking to at home. We're also at fault for not educating her well, leading to such a big mistake. Do you have time for us to bring her to apologize to you face to face?" "No need." Arabella was about to hang up. "Don't hang up. Please, Bella, give Yoli a chance to apologize, and us a chance to make it right. We've messed up a lot in the past and hurt you. For your grandma's sake," Atlee said. "You have no right to bring up grandma." Arabella's voice was cold as ice. What, they needed to pay 6 million and it hurt? Couldn't bear to part with it? Wanted to use grandma to soften her up? "Yes, I have no right to mention why, our grandma. If your grandma knew that the Murphy family fell apart under my watch, she would be heartbroken and her condition could get worse," Atlee said. Atlee seemed to be full of regret and sorrow. "It's all our fault. You're right to hate us. We don't even dare to ask for your forgiveness, but if you're willing—" "I'm not willing," Arabella cut him off. Atlee was taken aback by her firm stance, at a loss for what to do. "Bella, what can I do to make you forgive me?" "Anything that's within my ability." "You can," Arabella said straight away. "Pay the 6 million, use the rest to buy some good drugs for grandma on the black market." Atlee suddenly remembered what Dr. Caden had said, that there was a very expensive drug on the black market. 1 million per pill, 2 pills a month, and after 3 months she could have an operation. This would be much better than living on borrowed time in the hospital. However, Atlee didn't want to go through with this idea. His hope was for the old lady to stay in the hospital with all her shares worth 30 million. He was afraid that if she became senile in her old age, she might transfer her shares to Arabella. So he wanted to save Grace, hoping that before she passed away, she could leave all her shares to Yoli in her will. He thought Arabella didn't know his plan, so he said gently, "Bella, don't worry about grandma. I will save her. The drugs from the black market are unreliable. Hope Hospital is the best hospital in the country, known for its cardiology department, and we have professionals like Dr. Greg and Dr. Caden. I have peace of mind with grandma there." Arabella knew what was going on. He just didn't want to spend the money, only trying to save the 6 million in compensation. Did he think she couldn't figure that out? "Bella," Atlee said. 2 minutes have passed, Arabella said. Arabella hung up the call, blocked the number, and was about to head into the lab when another unknown number called. Arabella was speechless. Without a doubt, it was Atlee again, shamelessly calling her from a new number. Arabella hung up again, blocked the number, and strode into the lab. Atlee had predicted she wouldn't answer, so he had prepared a bunch of new numbers before calling her. Each time Arabella blocked one, he'd switch to another. Finally, Arabella switched off her phone, leaving Atlee helpless. "How's it going?" Olga, watching Atlee's fallen face, had a bad feeling. "She's still not answering your call?" She switched off her phone. Atlee sighed, glancing at his daughter on the sofa. Yolanda was hanging her head, looking guilty as tears silently rolled down her cheeks. She looked pitiful. "That girl is outrageous." Olga gritted her teeth, hating Arabella to the core. "No matter what, this can't hit the news, or not only will Yoli's reputation be ruined, but our Murphy family's reputation will be destroyed too." Humph. It was just 6 million? They were the richest family in Tranquil City. They could definitely afford it. Atlee was silent for a while, then took out his phone, ordering his men to put up several of his mansions and shops for sale. The buyer must pay in full. Otherwise, waiting for the bank's loan process would take too long, and they wouldn't get the money within 3 days. Make it fast. If it doesn't work, lower the price a bit. Atlee hung up, looking at his wife and daughter with a defeated look. "Once we sell those, all we'll have left is this house and a few shops." The maid serving tea on the side was startled by this, almost dropping her tray. "What are you doing?" Olga, noticing her sneaky behavior, couldn't help but scold, "Trying to give us a heart attack?" "Sorry, ma'am, I didn't hold it properly." The maid thought, what was the point of acting high and mighty when they were about to go bankrupt? She needed to find a new job. The Murphy family was definitely going under soon. "Dad, Mom, I'm sorry," Yolanda sobbed, tears falling continuously, guilt written all over her face. "Ah," Atlee sighed. Once the mansions and shops were sold, he would no longer be the richest man in Tranquil City. His status would plummet. Then, the Murphy family's business would be on the brink of collapse. "It's all my fault." Yolanda knew she'd messed up, sobbing. "If I hadn't come back, Dad would still be the richest man, and Mom would still be living a luxurious life. I ruined you. I ruined our family. I'm sorry, so sorry." If she didn't apologize now, she was afraid her parents would get angry and kick her out. She could feel her father's disappointment in her. Even though she was crying so hard, he didn't offer any words of comfort. "Silly girl, you're our child. You've lived outside for 18 years. You've suffered a lot," Olga said. Olga gently stroked her head, softly saying, "You couldn't afford piano lessons before, but things are different now. We're here, and we won't let you suffer anymore. If you still want to learn piano, we'll hire a tutor for you." Yolanda's tears fell. She shook her head, as if to say, she didn't want to learn piano anymore. Olga's heart ached even more. "It's okay, as long as we pay the 6 million, only the people at the awards ceremony will know about this. It'll soon be forgotten, and won't be known by others. They won't become their laughingstock." Yolanda nodded, looking guilty. "In a few days, the results of the entrance exam will be announced. With your abilities and level, getting into a good university won't be a problem," Olga said. "During your university days, you can try other things. It doesn't have to be piano playing all the time. You can try painting, fashion designing, or even golfing. In a nutshell, refine your taste, and become a truly talented and knowledgeable elegant lady," Olga said. "After graduating from a prestigious university, you can intern at our family business for a while. Then you'll become an elegant lady with both ability and qualification." But as for Zachary, that was a tough nut to crack. Olga could tell that Zachary was disappointed in Yoli today, and was even taken away by Mrs. Panther. "The wedding between the Murphy and the Panther family may be on hold for now," Olga said. Yolanda knew it clear as day. Zachary was disappointed in her. Today's incident made her feel ashamed. She bit her lip. No, she had to find a way to win him back, no matter the cost. In the lab, Arabella successfully extracted the jade leaf, causing a stir among the surrounding experts and doctors, who all praised her. "That's seriously impressive. We've been hustling for more than 10 days, and you cracked it in one afternoon. In the field of pharmaceutical research, if you're the second, no one dares to claim the first." Arabella looked at the extracted jade leaf, seeming unsatisfied. "It's not fully extracted, and the composition isn't pure enough. I'll come back tomorrow night to check." Tonight, Louisa prepared a big feast for her, to celebrate her success. Now that it was dark, she had to go back, or they would be waiting for too long. Hearing that Arabella would come back tomorrow night, the doctors and experts were thrilled. That's great. Even though it's not fully extracted, being able to extract a part of it is already amazing. "I thought this project was doomed to fail, but once you came, we made such a big progress." Arabella looked at the component in the equipment. "You guys observe it tonight. See how long this component can survive under high temperature. If it couldn't withstand high temperature, the component would be destroyed, and the extraction would be meaningless. Don't worry, we will definitely follow up on this," the expert said. Arabella got in the car and left. Soon after, she arrived at Reflections Villa, and saw a brand new diamond piano shining charmingly under the light as soon as she entered the living room. "Arabella, you're back?" Kenneth was very happy to see her. "Perfect, you can test this piano, see how it feels. Is the sound accurate? Is it good to use?" Serena beside him was green with envy. She had asked the piano delivery guy, and this piano was worth millions, very expensive. The delivery guy thought Kenneth's daughter was her, and complimented her, which upset her. Arabella's slender fingers gently slid over the keys, and pressed a few notes. The sound was very good. This piano must be very valuable. "Arabella, I heard you're a piano master. Can we have the honor of hearing you play a piece? I heard your maestro melody. I must confess, I'm your fan. Arabella, may I have the pleasure of hearing you play a piece?" Your piano music is really good. I listen to a few pieces before I go to bed every night. Arabella smiled and said, "So, my piano pieces have the effect of helping you sleep?" At the behest of the many servants, Arabella took a seat at the piano. Her slender fingers lightly touched the keys as the melodious sound of the piano filled the room. Each note seemed to transform into a lively sprite, taking everyone on a joyous journey. Those who listened to the piece felt as if they were traveling through a sea of flowers and seeing a crystal-clear ocean, their spirits greatly relaxed and delighted. As the rhythm of the song gradually accelerated, everyone's mood got better and better, their bodies and minds refreshed. No one knew how long it had been when the piano music finally ceased, and everyone clapped their hands vigorously. "That was awesome. I listen to your pieces every night, and I can immediately recognize this as your piece. You're undoubtedly Maestro Melody. Is this a new piece? I've never heard it before. It's full of artistic flair and it's super pleasing. I loved it. Where can I download this piece? I want to hear it again." Several servants surrounded Arabella, idolizing her. Arabella gave a light smile. That was an impromptu. No template, no preconceptions. She played whatever came to her mind, freely expressing herself. Everyone was full of praises. "That impromptu piece you played was even better than those classic masterpieces. Miss, you're freaking amazing. That piece you just played, it's the best piano piece I've ever heard." Arabella's piano skills clearly surpassed Serena. Serena, who had been playing the piano since she was a child, never played music this beautiful. She, standing aside, felt even more jealous seeing how the servants admired and liked Arabella. So annoying. She stole the spotlight again. "Bella and this piano are a perfect match," Louisa said. Louisa had been filming and taking pictures of her daughter since the beginning. And now, seeing her daughter sitting at the piano, her every move, posture, expression, was beyond perfection. Her daughter was just so beautiful, such a sight for sore eyes. "Everyone, move this piano to Bella's room. Bella, play it when you have time, and just leave it when you don't. Don't worry about it getting dusty." Kenneth's tone was always very indulgent. Arabella nodded, took out the gifts she made in the lab today, and handed them out, 1 bottle per person. "This is my gift for you." Kenneth and Louisa were both a little surprised. "More gifts? It's been so long since I came home, and I haven't given you anything," Arabella said. "These 2 bottles of pills, she just made them, each with different effects. Dad, your bottle can enhance physical health," Arabella said. Arabella knew that Kenneth had paid a lot for his career when he was young and had many health issues. This bottle could solve many problems. "Mom, your bottle can beautify and nourish the complexion," Arabella said gently. "Take 1 pill each day, and keep it up for 3 months. You will see very good results." Each small bottle contained about 100 pills. "My little girl, did you buy us health supplements?" Louisa mistakenly thought that this little thing was a health supplement, and felt extremely surprised and touched. "You're so thoughtful." She looked at Arabella, her eyes full of affection. "My girl, don't worry, we will definitely persist in taking it. We won't miss a day. This is Bella's gift. I can't bear to eat it." Kenneth held the small bottle of pills tightly, his eyes filled with tears. This was the first gift Bella gave them after she came home. He wanted to keep it. "Keep it forever. There will be more when you finish," Arabella said. Kenneth was very happy. "There's more." "Yep," Arabella said. "Bella, don't spend any more money. Save your money for yourself. If it's not enough, just ask us. We don't need you to buy any gifts. As long as you are healthy and happy, we are satisfied," Louisa lovingly said. "Let's not talk about this for now. Tonight's dinner is ready. Bella, let's have a good celebration tonight," Kenneth said. Serena, who was standing by, watched her parents holding Arabella's hand and leaving, feeling very upset. Even though she was the one who got first place, why were her parents celebrating for Arabella? They said they didn't have favorites. She was left all alone. It couldn't be more obvious that they were playing favorites. At 7 o'clock in the evening, the lights in the Macmillan Corporation building were bright, and no one dared to leave work early. In the conference room, Romeo listened to a manager's report with a cold expression and frosty eyes. "This is your cold strategy? Mr. Macmillan, I thought if we spread the news, it could make our competitors invest in the land in S City. As long as they get stuck in that piece of land, financial problems would be inevitable, and then we could take them over. The manager said, I was wrong. I didn't expect them to pretend to invest in the land in S City on the surface, but secretly they bought all the land in B City that we were interested in, and they tricked us. The manager felt very sorry and apologized with a bow. Romeo's gaze was as cold as water. How many years have you been working in the corporation? Ha! The manager was stunned by the question, and quickly answered, Mr. Macmillan, it's been 8 years. Has the company been treating you poorly? Romeo asked. Of course not. The manager was already sweating profusely and shaking uncontrollably. Since the company has not mistreated you. Romeo's icy gaze landed on his head. Why did you betray the Macmillan family? Mr. Macmillan? The manager did not expect the news to reach Romeo so quickly. He had initially planned to go abroad to lay low after this deal. You're flying to France at 8 tonight? Romeo threw the plane ticket in front of him, and the manager immediately turned pale. It was over, everything had been found out. Carl, who was standing aside, said coldly, if our competitor's corporation offered you very attractive conditions, and you've decided to go, all you have to do is submit your resignation. Macmillan Corporation will not stop you, but if you're playing tricks behind our back. The manager started shaking even more violently. Mr. Macmillan, Carl, I was wrong. Please give me another chance. Carl shot the manager a glance, and said in an icy tone, Mr. Macmillan has known about your dirty tricks behind the scenes for a while now. B City? That piece of land isn't what we're really after. The real deal is actually over in S City. But we used your tactics to stir up some trouble for them. The manager was instantly shocked, realizing he was toast, and his face fell in utter despair. You've leaked the company's secrets. That's illegal. Carl's words hung in the air. Right on cue, 2 cops showed up, taking the manager away for questioning. Romeo swept his gaze over the crowd. Now, anyone else want to come clean? Arabella had just enjoyed a romantic candlelit dinner and had a rare, delightful family moment. Even though Serena's presence was a bit of a mood killer, the love and adoration from her parents was genuine. For the first time in her life, Arabella truly, deeply, felt the warmth of family. Bella, go take a shower first. There's a surprise waiting for you later, Louisa said. Arabella came downstairs fresh from her bath, to see the sky filled with bursting fireworks. Louisa, wearing a tender smile, beckoned, Bella, come over, let's take a group picture. A famous photographer and his team were waiting under the fireworks. Under the dazzling night sky, Kenneth and Louisa, both wearing gentle smiles, hold each of their daughters' hands. We've always wanted to take a photo with you, but never got the chance. Serena just happened to be out with her friends. This worked out nicely, a photo with just the 3 of them. After all, they were the ones who were blood related. But I'm in my PJs, Arabella said. Before Arabella could finish her sentence, Kenneth and Louisa burst out laughing. No worries, no worries. They had deliberately worn their PJs too, to look more like a family. They wanted to capture this slice of life moment. All right, everyone squeeze in. Mr. Collins, your collar is a bit crooked. Mrs. Collins, chin down a bit. Arabella, could you give a bigger smile? The photographer said. Arabella flashed a bright smile as the camera clicked away. Switch places, switch places. Louisa happily traded places with Kenneth. The fireworks in the sky served as their backdrop, both of them holding Arabella's hands, their faces glowing with happiness. Arabella had never felt her parents' love so intensely, the way they doted on her, as if she were their most precious treasure. All right, let's change it up. The photographer took more candid shots in the living room after the garden shoot. Arabella, held closely by her parents, felt a warmth she had never felt before. After shooting over a dozen scenes, Louisa still wanted more. But Kenneth chuckled, let's give Bella a break, we've been shooting for quite a while tonight. Madam, we've shot over a dozen scenes already, there are thousands of photos. The photographer was also worried that they might be too tired and it would affect their expressions. Let's take more when the boys return. Kenneth massaged Louisa while speaking. Someone, bring some lemonade. Someone brought the lemonade. Louisa placed a straw and handed it to Arabella. "Bella, have some water. You must be tired." Arabella shook her head and took a sip. It was a bit sweet. She also felt sweet in her heart. "Want some dessert?" Kenneth brought a whole plate of desserts in front of Arabella. "Do you like pink macarons? Or do you prefer pudding? If you don't like either, I'll have them made again." "Mom, Dad, you guys choose first." Arabella took the plate and handed it to them. Kenneth and Louisa, touched by the gesture, each took one dessert even though they usually didn't have sweets at night. The photographer sent all the digital photos to Louisa's phone first. Louisa, looking at the countless frames of them, felt extremely satisfied. Every single one was perfectly captured, so natural. "Bella, come take a look. Do you have any favorites?" "I'll send them to you first," Louisa said. Arabella chose a biscuit, paired it with the lemonade, took a look and said, "All good. Then I'll send them all to you." After sending them, Louisa continued to admire the photos. "These are really fantastic. Especially these few." Seeing her set one of the photos as her phone wallpaper, Kenneth also chimed in, "I want to set it as my wallpaper too." After munching on some snacks, Arabella headed back to her room and saw her parents flipping through their photos on the couch, their faces beaming with joy. The next morning, Arabella, done with her breakfast and ready for work, noticed Serena looking a bit off. She might have found out about their family photo session last night. Serena glared at Arabella, her eyes seething with resentment, struggling to keep her anger in check. Arabella just threw her a glance before looking away and getting into Romeo's car. Serena was fuming. She told Martha, who was trailing behind her, "I was at a friend's wedding last night, being a bridesmaid. When I got back, they had already finished taking the pictures and gone to bed. I'm really ticked off. They didn't wait for me. They set off a bunch of fireworks and hired photographers, but they just went to bed after the shoot, not giving a damn about how I'd feel." Martha, worried for her, quietly said, "Miss Serena, you need to step up your game. I suggest you stop enduring, or your position in this family will keep sliding." Hearing this, Serena decided it was time to take action. In N country, a private helicopter slowly descended onto the rooftop of a skyscraper. The man's face was aloof. Upon hearing the news, his eyes were icy cold. A young assistant said, "The boss have been away from home for over 10 days because of work. You and the others can handle this project. Should there be any issues, report back to the boss." Before he could finish, Julian's gaze landed on his right foot, realizing he had already stepped onto the helicopter stairs. He quickly stepped back, respectfully said to the boss, "Have a good trip, boss. Take care." The helicopter took off, stirring up a gust of wind. The man asked softly, "Are the gifts ready?" "Yes, boss, all set." Julian replied respectfully, "There are 3 gifts in total, a limited edition perfume set, a limited edition lipstick set, and a limited edition skincare set." He prepared each as he wasn't sure what the boss would want to give his sister. These perfumes, lipsticks, and skincare products are all the rage among girls nowadays. But the man coldly said, "These are too lightweight." The assistant suddenly realized that these gifts were indeed too lightweight. He quickly said, "My apologies for the oversight. I'll arrange something else once we land." The man asked indifferently, "What's the hottest brand among girls in our country these days?" The assistant thought for a moment and said, "Definitely QY. 3 years ago, QY launched with its unique styles and one-of-a-kind pieces, quickly gaining popularity among socialites and celebrities. Then, QY launched a new line of shoes and bags, causing a stir in the fashion world. QY's designer, Queen Abby, has won numerous international awards. She has led the brand from a little-known label to a global luxury brand. I heard that QY has recently launched a new line of jewelry, each piece being unique," Julian said, quickly handing his tablet to the man. Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.